A pleasant good evening and welcome to SAT TV News. I am Nisha Charles.
And I am Desmond Joseph.
And we are your presenters for the evening. Thank you for joining us. Among the major developments, Bafokeng resident calls for help.
Grenada media workers alarmed by growing government intolerance.
China firm sues Obama over blocked U.S. wind farm deal.
And in sports, Saints crowned as champions of the 2012 Maxroy Trading Southern Cricket League.
Details of these and other stories after the break.
Support local. Support SAT Telecommunications Limited, the people's choice. Join hands with us. Come and sign up for your digital TV connection today. We got the sharpest, cleanest, brightest digital TV connection. No antiquated analog service, only pure digital and many new packages coming soon. With latest in sports, movies, children programming and much more. So if you have your flat screen TV and you want to see quality TV, join now. Sign up today for your digital television. Support local, support SAT Telecommunications Limited, the people's choice. Support local, support SAT Telecoms Limited, the people's choice. Join hands with SAT and come in and sign up for your digital internet connection today. The fastest broadband digital internet. Why settle for imitation when you can get a better choice? Choose from our 5 packages. We've got the warm-up package going at 256 kilobytes for $28.75. We've got the Breezy package at 1.5 megabytes going at $57.50. We've got the Maverick package at 3 megabytes going at $69. We've got the Jetstream package at 4 megabytes going at $126.50. And we've got the Warp Drive package at 6 megabytes going at $241.50. So come in today and join in hands with the family of SAT Telecoms Limited and sign up for your fastest digital broadband internet service today.
Thank you for staying with us. Now for the details of the news. Providing adequate, sufficient, affordable and quality healthcare for our population is a very complex and difficult task. Comeva Medical Travel Services thinks that they have the main ingredients to make this possible for Dominica. Mr. Alex Piper, president of the One World Global Healthcare Solutions, says that Comeva's healthcare division specializes in the healthcare sector and has a mandate to provide healthcare to international patients.
Already, a considerable number of patients that travel from their home country to Colombia for treatment from the Caribbean. And I believe that number is in the 2,000 a year range. And that has been built over a number of years, developed, and is in a solid state right now. So there is a demonstrated ability to deal with Caribbean countries by Comeva.
Currently, there are 3 Dominican patients in Colombia receiving assistance. The Health Minister, Honorable Julius Timothy, says this relationship with Dominica is a good thing because there is a lot of good that Colombia portrays. The aim of this conference is to highlight new opportunities for Dominicans to access economical healthcare and medical services travel of a high quality.
Generally, Comeva's services are very cost effective and it is about 60% cheaper than the US, and certainly would be even a much higher percentage than Martinique, because in Martinique you are charged euros and you pay as if you were in Europe. The only stickler is travel service to Colombia.
Colombian medical professionals in internal medicine, oncology, orthopedics and 4 hospital representatives are present in Dominica until October the 3rd to dialogue with local doctors. Comeva's portfolio of services include urgency and emergency patient transfer, medical surgery and therapies among others. Mr. Mauricio Castillo represents Comeva, says 95% of the people in Colombia are insured by one system or another. This has created huge investments from the private sector in medical care, hospitals and clinics.
The liability cost in Colombia is less than the United States because we don't have the burden of the lawyers or the other legal requirements. Also, the doctors they were trained as more schools came into the system. We used to have like 10 schools at that time. Now we have like 55 medical schools. And some hospitals are university hospitals.
Clínica de Mali was there to tell Dominica about their institution. They are the most traditional private institution in Colombia. They offer medical services including bone marrow transplant, medical emergencies, oncology, and radiology. The health minister thanks Comeva for bringing their insights into the healthcare offered in Colombia and hopes we can have better relations with them in the future.
Tuesday, October 2nd, marked the official launching of the Dominican Association of Persons with Disabilities, DAPD, National Dollar Day, which is being held under the theme DAPD Sustainability with Support for Social Partners. This year, DAPD is seeking to raise at least $50,000 and is counting on embassy and consulates, cooperative citizens, faith-based organizations, professional citizens, and private citizens to be among these social partners. This year, Ms. Miyo Yasuhara from Japan will be assisting them for 4 months and will produce a documentary of all the work they have done and the people they have helped.
Miss Miho Yuzumihara from Japan, sorry if I can't pronounce it, landed in Dominica for the very first time. And Miho, I will call her by her first name, Miho is here with us for just a few months as a Japanese volunteer. We refer to them as JOCV, and the reason for her being here is to assist us in our continued development with regards to promoting persons with disabilities.
Ms. Murphy says that they are hoping to use these documentaries for future productions and promotions.
We're hoping that we'll be able to accomplish our objective so that we will have documentation that we can use in the future when we promote and develop programs for persons with disabilities. So we want to say thanks to JICA again for assisting us. Naoko has been with us for over 2 years. Her stay was extended because she was to have left in June, but we applied and got an extension for her. So when Mio is going back, she will also be going back.
Vice President Mr. Michael Murphy says that DAPD is trying to give an opportunity to every single Dominican with disabled abilities. However, finance is nowhere as he expects it to be.
Man, woman, and child, disabled or otherwise, to contribute to the work of the disability movement right here in Dominica. For example, we have done quite a lot of work on educating persons in Dominica with respect to the Convention on the Rights of Persons with Disabilities. And that costs a lot of money. And we were hoping that we would have now convinced everyone that they should play their part by contributing.
A friend of Mr. Murphy, who now resides in the UK, donated a printer to DAPD as part of his contribution to the organization.
The losses that we had, we heard that we had lost. There were thieves prowling in the environment on 2 occasions and lost quite a bit of equipment, including printers. So, Mr. Billy Gachette and Mrs. Gachette, I am indeed grateful on behalf of my association to accept this donation. Where is it? I can't see it.
Two sets of ink. This is the card which you will have to get. I'm not too good in organizing this stuff.
Dominica is making stride on measures to improve the nation through information and communication technology, ICT. This was made public by parliamentary representative in the Prime Minister's office responsible for information technology, Honorable Kelvin Darrow, coming from a South Korea Caribbean summit on ICT which was held in Trinidad recently. Mr. Darrow says that several Caribbean countries attended the summit, including officials from South Korea, where they discussed how best the Caribbean can move forward using information technology, among other topics.
And South Korea, being a leader in ICT, was really one of the countries which has a vast knowledge as to how best we can move ICT forward in the region. We looked at several key areas as it relates to e-government strategies, e-procurement. We also looked at national security and how ICT can impact each of these factors. Education was one of the also main areas that was highlighted at the summit. Coming out of the summit, it was felt that as a Caribbean region, we've made several steps forward as it relates to information technology, but there is still a lot more that we have to do to achieve our goals, both as countries and as a region.
Mr. Darrow says Dominica, in terms of ICT, has made tremendous work in their e-government program, which resulted in an intranet in the public service system where government services has been made more efficient to its customers. He referred to the Escudo World System and the Unified Line Information System.
As it relates to the education impact of that, when New State College is completed, it will be a Wi-Fi zone that will allow students to rove the internet and to use their laptops, their tablets, their iPads, whatever it is, in the compound of the college as well. We've also ensured that the computer labs at the primary and secondary schools are up to par, so that the young ones there can have the opportunity to derive some form of education from ICT. So we've made tremendous strides. We continue to look forward to making ICT one of the key components and one of the factors that will drive this economy moving forward, because we realize that the dynamism that is within the sector, and so we have to continue to promote ICT, particularly among the youth, and particularly as a number of programs and systems that worked before, they are now outdated.
Mr. Darrow pointed out that ICT can take us to the next level, while he stated that one of the other areas looked at the summit was the idea to have specialized training for teachers in subject areas to better disseminate the students they teach with that knowledge. The Parliamentary Secretary says that this is important, as looking back at the 2012 Caribbean Examination Council CXC in the area of mathematics, which showed a decrease in the number of students passing the subject. He said one of the problems we may have, because of the fact that there are teachers in schools who may not be so keen on the subject they teach, and as a result not able to come up with ways in which all students will retain the information.
So if you have a trained and a specialized math teacher, this teacher can remain in a confined and controlled environment, and with the use of ICT technology, they can impart that knowledge to other students at various secondary schools who will themselves be within their schools. And so I believe that can be an opportunity for these students not to be at a disadvantage if the math teacher in their school does not have the ability to teach or to even make the subject easier for the students to understand and comprehend.
Another key area they looked at was national security and the role ICT has to play in the advancement of national security in Caribbean countries. He said that one of the main ways to do so is with the installation of closed-circuit television CCTVs, which many other Caribbean countries have already implemented, such as Trinidad and Jamaica. Although it may be a costly exercise, Mr. Darrow said it is something they have to look at, as it will allow perpetrators of crimes to be caught on camera, which then will be used in court as evidence when prosecuted, as cameras do not lie. In responding to the Prime Minister Honorable Roosevelt Skerrit's 2012-2013 budget address, where the value-added tax was removed from the importation of the security cameras and equipment, Mr. Darrow says,
well, it is a plus, especially for the private sector. And I would believe that some of the private sector firms will take advantage of this opportunity, particularly as it relates to their businesses or their business surroundings in the city, for example, where maybe 2 or 3 businesses can come together and they can institute that form of short-circuit television cameras within the various business areas. And what you can find happening is that these businesses, they will not have to pay back on these things. So government is making it much easier for persons now to have better control and to have better security measures in place to protect their businesses. And I believe this is a step in the right direction, and the private institutions should take advantage of that.
Mr. Darrow says with the implementation of the CCTVs, people who think they can act lawlessly and not get caught, they will think twice before committing any offense. He added the government will also look to implement such measures in popular tourist sites so crime in this country can be deterred. The police department was also commended for doing a wonderful job in the fight against crime.
And in more local news, one frustrated Baffin State resident is calling for help in regards to his home. Mr. Bernard Royer says he has been having issues with his neighbor for a period of time when it comes to being respectful to his premises. He received a phone call from his wife on Monday, September 1st around 4 p.m. stating that a huge stone from his neighbor's premises rolled onto the back of his home. He says at the moment he cannot say for sure that his neighbor did it, but he feels that he had a part to play in this incident since this is not the first issue between him and his neighbor.
I saw those 2 stones there, and then I said, but how can it be? And I noticed, well, it must have come from the yard above, and then I put my mind in doubt that maybe the guy tampered with the stone, but I don't know. To be honest, I don't know whether he tampered with it, but what I noticed that he did not come early. He came late after we went to bed. I understood that. But this morning I understand he slept there.
The frustrated resident added that he also has an issue with the neighbor's trees because it is having a negative impact on his premises.
I've asked him to cut it, not by my mouth, but police. And then he find, well, I should not go to police for him. I tell him, well, I didn't go to police for you. I go to police for you to cut the trees because we went to cut for that same tree. And he has not done anything since. Only once he cut it, and then that was it.
How are the trees affecting your premises?
Well, you can see for yourself. On the ground there's cover, there's cherry. On my house, well, I cannot see because if you can see the gutter rain itself must be full of with covers.
Mr. Roy says he has tried his best to deal with this matter as professional and legal as possible, yet not a thing is being done. In addition, he noted that the neighbor does not want to cooperate with him to resolve this matter.
I myself, all I want is to get my papers and go to a lawyer and settle up the matter with him. But he doesn't want that. He doesn't want that. I mean, he wants to do whatever he wants. He put up his fence. Now the fence is part on my property, not this end, but this end. From there come back because the boundary is going that way. Now he dug a pit up that way, and then he threw down all the stones. Well, I wasn't there when he did it. He took up the dirt and he threw down the stones onto my property. All you can see for yourself, all the stones that are there from his pit.
Not only is Mr. Roy frustrated about this matter, he is also afraid to approach the neighbor due to the threats he has made in the past in relation to similar incidents.
He's a guy that does get angry, and I myself, I don't know. I don't want to contact because I and him had a clash one time, and he boasting about on the road in fisheries and all about that, how he bust me down, and how he mashed me up, and even to my neighbors and them. I mean, they were there, but never like that happened. And I don't know if he'll hold me again and biff me up and bust me down, I don't know. I tell him, well, I said to myself, well, if my two hands are tied, you can lift me up.
Mr. Roy says action is to be taken from higher authorities because he cannot do this on his own at his age.
As Scotiabank celebrates Small Business Week, they are hosting a small business seminar which commenced on Tuesday, October 2nd. Some of the entrepreneurs are displaying their works, and they have brought in a lawyer, accountant, and representative of the Dominica Association of Industry and Commerce, the DAIC, to speak with the entrepreneurs. Scotiabank's country manager, Mr. James Alston, says the seminar is good for growing the businesses of these entrepreneurs.
I think it's pretty well common in many countries that the entrepreneurs are sort of the lifeblood of business and employment. Scotiabank, we have a separate small business group within our unit. It's key to us, and we certainly want to grow that business, and part of growing the business would be to make sure that the local entrepreneurs are well versed in what they need to do to either approach the bank or just run their business in general.
Small Business Week is also being observed with Scotiabank throughout the Caribbean. The Scotiabank's country manager said this is also good for the bank because they want their customers, of whom quite a few are entrepreneurs, to be better, and that in turn will make the bank better also.
Some of my staff worked very, very hard to put this together, and certainly with the help from Fort Young Hotel. It's the first one that we're doing, and we hope that it'll be first of many. So anything that maybe don't go perfectly tonight, we'll know better for next year, but the event's been in the planning for a couple of weeks, 2 to 3 weeks. Yeah.
Benjo Seamers has displayed their work as part of Small Business Week, and on Thursday, October 4th, Nature Island Paper Products will be displaying theirs. Mr. Alson is keen on bringing in these two companies because they are local entrepreneurs producing from local supplies, and they can showcase what can be done in Dominica.
I think it's going to be a lot of planning and risk mitigation. We do have some small business planners and details on our website that people can certainly approach, and I'm sure other organizations do the same as well. DAIC will also be telling the entrepreneurs some of the services that they offer, so they can find out what is good for the entrepreneur, what they need to know to start a business, run a business.
This is the first of many seminars for the bank, and in the long term it is hoped that it's good for the bank and good for the country.
And in more local news, reviving the operations at the Canefield Airport is one of the strategies which might be considered as the Discover Dominica Association, DDA, is seeking ways to improve access to the island. This idea came from Trinidad consultant of Imperial Management Services, Mr. Ian Bertrand, who said if one wanted to minimize portal time, one should really take advantage of the two airports and ensure that they are more effectively utilized.
Dominica had two airports, and with two entirely different catchment areas. And that if one wanted to minimize portal-to-portal time, one should really take advantage of the two airports and ensure that they're more effectively utilized. So that meant looking at the resuscitation of operations at Canefield, which is one of the reasons why it was important for ECA to understand what we were doing and why we were doing it, so that their support and encouragement for reopening Canefield would be understood.
Currently, there are no regular flights at the Canefield Airport, which was popular with air travelers not in favor of the long journey to and from their homes when coming in or leaving via the larger Medvinal Airport. Mr. Bertrand says that Dominica has two broad markets, which are the regional and the international markets, which are both very important. He said that part of the revised access plan is to further expand both markets to take advantage of the opportunities they both provide to the tourism industry.
The partnership of Dominica, Liat, and the Sea Ferry has to be strengthened. That, however, is only one leg of the stool. The second leg is the international visitors to Dominica. And that's where connectivity between Dominica and the international airports around, the Antigua, St. Martins, Hionoras, Guadelupes of this world, that connectivity is absolutely critical. And if you want to reduce portal-to-portal time, you don't want those visitors sitting around at those airports, waiting 3, 4, 5, 6 hours for the flight into Dominica.
The consultant also pointed out that the airlines of the Caribbean play an essential and equally valid role in the development of tourism in Dominica.
There has been interest shown. There has been appreciation by ECA, by the OECS Secretariat, by the CTO for what has been achieved. Airlines have stepped forward. And I think we have now generated significant interest that will carry us forward. This is not going to be easy. It's going to be hard work. There are going to be serious negotiations by all stakeholders as we move forward. It will require significant political and managerial commitment on the part of the government and on the part of the DHTA in moving this thing forward very quickly.
Mr. Bertrand said that this can only work if the airline companies, namely Liat and the ferry services, cooperate to both improve access to Dominica to the point that is an advantage to tourism. This has been a local segment of the news. Coming up next, regional highlights.